What's up, YouTube? Welcome back. So I'm on this 69 Chevelle Malibu with a low pedal, and let me take you through this. So we're just talking about, do the parking brake system and shoes work properly? And we're not going to talk about hydraulic. We're just going to talk about the shoes, the adjusters, the hardware. Let me show you the first thing. All right, so I'm going to dump this out. So I don't know the history of this car. I just get it with, hey, it's got a problem. Of course, that's how it all starts out. So this drum setup here, okay, has knockouts. None were knocked out, okay? So this is the knockout, so I can get to the adjuster and back the adjuster down to get it out because the drum has a little bit of an edge on it. The only way that this car has ever been done properly is if this was done right the first time. And what I mean by that is the shoes, the hardware, the adjusters, the parking brake cables, all that was in good working order, okay? If they took new shoes and hardware, put it on this car, and didn't resurface the drums, it almost makes it virtually impossible to get the proper adjustment with the knockouts still in there because there's no access panel back here to gain access to the mechanical adjuster, which is here. So if you see this, okay, knockouts. If the knockouts weren't knocked out, it's possible that this car has always had a crappy brake pedal, in my opinion, with 29,000 miles. It's possible these are still the original brake shoes. I don't really know. But someone has never been back here to properly check it and adjust it, that's for sure, because the brake pedal is low. So this is power disc brakes in the front, drum in the back. I don't suspect that there's air in the system. I suspect it's all an adjustment issue for the low pedal. But if you come across this, right, and you can't get the drum off because the shoes have an edge that are locking it in, right? The shoes are stuck in this cup kind of wear. You need to knock the knockouts out, and then you need to get in there and back the adjuster down. Sometimes you're going to need a little seal pick to pull this out, and if this is seized, then you're in for a lot of work. And then down adjusts it and back unadjust it. So unadjust, adjust. So knock these out, or one of them, right? And then make sure that if you're going to use the drums over, break that tab off. All right, so take a screwdriver or a chisel, boom, knock the hole out. I'm going to show you what the other side looks like. So I will tell you, someone's never been back here to do anything to this. Or they may have, but you can see here's the knockout. The plugs, never been knocked out. So this is stuck on here, but we're gonna stay on this side. Now, since I'm experienced with, drum brake setups, I inspected this to make sure everything was working, the adjusters moved. Now I can put the drum back on and I can adjust the brake drum properly. Even though it technically needs to be machined, although it doesn't. So if you put it back on, right, and it rocks real easy, that tells you your adjustment's way too low. What I like to do, and it depends on the use of the vehicle, what they're doing with it, I like to crank the adjuster all the way up until you can't turn it anymore, right? So you're gonna crank it up, leave the vehicle in neutral until you can't turn the drum anymore. And then back the adjuster down. They also call it a safe set mic for this stuff. I actually have one, but my opinion is it just doesn't get the adjustment right, because once they break in, then the adjustment's out, okay? So you're gonna machine it, you're gonna put new drums on it, new hardware, all this stuff, and then you set it with a safe set mic. It sets it a little loose so they can break in properly. My opinion is people don't return fast enough for you to readjust it and then come back complaining they have a low pedal because they never came back for an adjustment. So this stuff is cured and broke in. I don't have to worry about that. So we're gonna crank the adjuster up until you can't wiggle this anymore or turn it, okay? If it slides off real easy, that tells you your adjustment's way too low. And some people, can say, oh, well, you turn it by hand and feel the drag. You really have to be experienced with that. So what you want to do is crank it up until it stops turning by hand, and then you're going to back it down a couple clicks until it rolls easy. And if you can wiggle it like this, then something's not right. So you could use a safe set mic. You could do it my way, because if you over adjust this, the drums are going to swell, the friction material is going to swell, it'll rip the material off, and it can lock the brakes up. So you don't want it too tight, okay, and you don't want it too loose. So this is my opinion, and in my experience with drum brakes, and this goes for almost all the drum brake systems out there. They all kind of work the same. The springs and adjusters and hardware and things of that nature, and automatic adjusters and cams, they all have the same principles of working in the mechanics. But when you're doing the mechanical adjustment, and some of these cars, you're not going to get it off. I've actually had to cut drums off of people's cars because you can't get them off, or use heat because they're seized here, and beat the death out of them. And then when you beat the death out of them, guess what? They're probably so distorted you're going to need to throw them in the trash. And if the brakes are already grind, it's time to throw that thing in the trash already. But 1969, knockouts have never been out. I'll tell you, it's probably never had an adjustment if this is the real mileage on the car. And I'm going to give it a proper adjustment for, geez, how many years is this thing, you know? And then someone said I didn't post a video about the tailpipes. I did post a video of the tailpipes. This is after, all right? And then this has the wrong bend and cut on it, and I didn't get that crazy with it. So this is actually off to the left here. I could straighten it out, but I'm not going to spend any more time on this. It's good enough for what the car looks like. This car was cherry mint 100%. I could go to next step on this car, but it's not. It's close enough. But before, they were sticking down here. A lot was exposed. The bends underneath the frame rails were way too low. It's all nice now. If you got any questions about drum brake setups and adjustments, let me know. If I missed something or explained something wrong, let me know. I'll work you through it. But some other vehicles usually have knockouts in the backing plates with a rubber plug, or they have the punch outs for them and they've never been punched out. That just tells me that someone really isn't adjusting the brakes properly if they don't bang the knockouts out. And then some have no access panels, complete pain in the Porsche. Thanks for watching.